Well, it's that time of year again with the Bethesda gods blessing the wasteland with a free trial to Fallout First. Now, this may be some people's first time having access to Fallout First, and they don't exactly know how to benefit the most from it. Also, some people may be purchasing Fallout First for the first time, so here's exactly what you want to do to maximize your experience with either the Fallout First trial or just having Fallout First for a month. Now, firstly, before I get into the actual tips that you should be doing for this little week or for the month that you have Fallout First for, I just want to say you're going to want to pick up everything, and I mean everything. Fallout First gives you access to the scrap box and the ammo box, which will store all your junk and ammo with no weight. So if you finish an event, collect all loot from corpses around you, scrap it, and store it all in your scrap box. Same with the ammo, and yes, this goes for the 40 millimeter grenades, the mini nukes, and the missiles. Now, even if you don't plan on using that type of ammo or a certain type of ammo, you'll never know what weapon Bethesda will add to Fallout 76, and it's better just to be safe than sorry. So let's say you want to do a trade with someone and they only need 40 millimeter grenades for some odd reason, or just if you want to help someone out, boom, you can because you grabbed it with when you had Fallout First. So everything that you grab and put inside of a scrap box or inside of an ammo box, you will be able to take it out whether you have Fallout First or not. You just won't be able to store anything else in there. So there's no weight penalty. Like I said, this isn't really a tip. It's just kind of a mandatory for Fallout First. I see a lot of people who only pick up ammo or certain junk items, but that's stupid. Just pick it all up and just store it inside of your scrap box. And obviously go to your current stash box and move all extra junk and ammo you have stashed in there and keep it empty until your trial runs out or until the month runs up of your first time purchasing Fallout First and you're not sure if you want to purchase again. So just use your scrap and ammo boxes. If you don't have them at your camp, place them at your camp. You will be able to access them whether you have Fallout First or not. You just won't be able to put more in unless you have Fallout First. So pick up everything. As you see me do in this video, I literally just pick up everything during Radiation Rumble, during Eviction Notice, during West Tech, during everything. I pick up everything and I scrap all weapons, all ammo, and all junk, and I throw it inside of the scrap boxes or the ammo boxes, just like you should be doing. So now moving on to the first thing that you actually should do for this little free trial. Okay, so now that you know the absolute basics of Fallout First and that you should be picking up absolutely everything and then scrapping everything and that you should have a scrap box and an ammo box at your camp and all future camps no matter what, the first thing that you actually want to do and you actually want to farm while you have Fallout First is lead, obviously, for a few different reasons, mainly ammo. I will have a farming guide soon, but for the meantime, there will be one in the description from a different source, either an article or just a YouTube video that I find super helpful and that I follow. So I suggest you do that. But if you don't want to go and all out and you just want to go and just pick up a little bit of lead for one play session, or if you have a lot of lead, I suggest you go to the penitentiary that's overrun by super mutants. You grab all the weights there, and then you go to the Lucky Hole Mine with all of the cultists, and then you can collect that at minimum. So collect all the lead there, but seriously, now is the time. Grab all the lead you can so you won't have to worry about ammo crafting in the future. You'll definitely thank me later. The ammo grind early on in the game can be devastating, but this literally right here will completely nullify the annoyance of having to farm lead in the future for ammo. I promise you, if you're low level, go ahead, grab as much lead as you can, stash it in your scrap box, go ahead and go do all that, and you will be set for a decent percentage of the game. Farming ammo in this game does suck, especially if you are a lower level, because you can't do expeditions and you can't do daily ops by yourself, and you won't be that efficient at it. So first thing that you want to farm is lead, and then obviously I suggest you farm all ores in general too, but I highly suggest you farm lead. So lead, copper, aluminum, other ores like that, you're going to want to farm because you could scrap them and then put it into your scrap box. So now moving on to a little extra tidbit, I suggest you mine all of the ores that you can, like I said, and then smelt them with the super duper perk to maximize your lead, steel, or copper out of this little trial. I also suggest placing one of these ore mining collectrons at your camp and then some workshops to seriously maximize the amount of lead or copper you'll get in the next week. If you have a few set up on your camp and then just at the workshops, you could get hundreds and hundreds of lead ore, copper ore, just from going AFK or just from playing the game normally. If you just put one at a workshop, put one at your camp, and then you go ahead and play the game for a few hours, you come back and you will have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pieces of ore that you could smelt down, and then obviously throw the lead and whatever you get into your scrap box. So obviously you can use other collectrons, but I do highly suggest you use the ore mining collectron, the mining collectron, just because there are a lot of other ways to get junk, but if you're able to maximize the amount of lead and the amount of copper that you'll get now, ammo literally just won't be a problem for you in the future. So you could always get junk from other sources, but ores and everything you could really only get from a couple of sources, and it takes a little bit for the ones in the world to respawn. So farm as much lead as you can, farm as many ores as you can. That's my number one on this list. Now moving on to number two. All right, so just another little tidbit. This is technically the second thing that I think that you should do, and you really shouldn't miss out on, especially if you are a veteran player. And a lot of people tend to forget this step, especially if they don't have a Fallout first, because they've come so used to just the stash management and everything like that system. So this is what you're going to want to do, in my opinion. It's going to be talking a lot about ammo. So now that you have a ammo box, I do suggest you craft a bunch of extra ammo for weapons you use now and keep it stored in your ammo box. I do this all the time with railway spikes and ultracite because they could be so heavy. So during the free trials, or when I redo buy Fallout first for a few months out of the year, I craft as much extra spikes as I can and ultracite. At least 10,000 of whatever ammo I use in ultracite, and then railway spikes, just to try and bulk up. And because, like I said, it is so heavy, so now it's better to craft the heavy ammo now, put it inside of your storage, and then rather than crafting it in a month when you don't have Fallout first, and then you'll have to carry all the excess ammo on you or put it in your stash. So it's kind of a lose-lose if you do it then, but if you just bite the bullet and do it now, especially because you're already going to be farming some lead, so you should have some bulk ammo crafting supplies, it will be a real benefit, so you don't have to fuck yourself. Like I said, you will be able to take the ammo out when you don't have Fallout first, but you won't be able to put more in when you don't have Fallout first. So just do it now, stock up on some ammo. All right, so now that you obviously know that you should farm some lead and some ammo crafting supplies, and then craft some bulk heavy ammo and put it to the side for weapons that you use, let's talk about another farm that you do. I suggest you actually farm at least a few times per day West Tech and White Spring. Now, like I said, this is a great source for excess junk if you can't do a couple of the other things, or if you're a little bit of a lower level. So let's talk about West Tech first. It's a great source of steel, springs, and other junk items. Plus, you could run it over and over and over again without having to hop servers by just going into the basement and doing that little wait down there for a minute and then come back up. So this is an awesome source for junk items and XP. It's just a great time to farm West Tech because you'll just be stocking up on so much steel. And if you don't know, steel is basically used in every single crafting recipe. And if you are a base builder, you will need a bunch of excess steel. So just run West Tech. You'll get some legendaries, you'll get some XP, and you will get a bunch of junk and crafting supplies. So boom, I suggest you do that. Now, I also suggest you farm White Spring a few times per day, just because the ghouls at White Springs will have a large loot pool of almost all junk items in the game. Plus, clearing out the whole entire resort will literally only take about 2 minutes. So it's a great way to get a bunch of loose odds and ends to, finish up whatever you're trying to go after. Like, let's say if you need springs for some odd reason, but you don't have enough caps to go and buy some, and you picked up all of the clipboards that you could off of guides, this is a great way just to farm some ghouls and some super mutants to get springs, and then also obviously the weapons that they drop and legendaries and XP. So I highly suggest you farm West Tech and you farm White Spring. Just, if you do server hop, jump to West Tech once, jump to White Spring, go ahead and do some events, and it really will just become a part of your normal daily grind. They will not take that long. West Tech takes, I don't know, 5 minutes, and then White Springs takes 2 minutes, so less than 10 minutes to get a bunch of steel and excess junk, which you are going to need. So, and plus also gunpowder from the super mutants, really, really useful, and you will get a shit ton, almost, I don't know, like a couple of 100 per day or so, give or take. So go ahead and farm those two locations. You could farm other ones, but I highly suggest those two at the minimum, West Tech and White Spring. Now, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying, Mom, but there is definitely a better way to get junk items in the game than killing ghouls or killing super mutants over and over and over again. And you're 100% right, obviously. Everyone knows what I'm about to say. I highly suggest you farm those damn treasure maps. If you don't know what the treasure maps are, they are just a little treasure treasure map that's in the notes section of your inventory, and if you read it, it'll show you a little place on the map that you could go to, and you could continually dig up the spot depending on how many treasure maps you have. The treasure maps just give a bunch of crap, and in terms of crap, I mean junk and low tier weapons, so it's very, very, very worth it for Fallout First members, or if you have a Fallout First free trial like we do in this video. So it's not that useful for players that don't have Fallout First just because of how much junk it does give you, and it can't really give you super rare plans or anything. So most players should have an abundance of treasure maps. They may all not be in the same area, but I definitely suggest you clear your inventory out of those treasure maps. They're located in the notes sections, like I said, and you probably have some without even knowing. So if you don't do anything else on this list, I highly suggest you do this and at least just clear out your inventory from all the treasure maps that you have. Doesn't matter what region, they'll all give you a bunch of shitty weapons and a bunch of junk that you obviously are searching after right now. So like you said, like you see in this video right here, I'll do a couple at one spot and then run to a different spot just because I've only had a certain amount of treasure maps for one area. But if you do just 10 total, you'll get fucking like hundreds of pounds of junk and everything. So it's extremely worth it. And everyone's video will also say to farm as many treasure maps as you possibly can. So I highly suggest you farm all of the treasure maps that you have in your inventory. Get rid of all of them. If you have a high level friend, or if you see a high level person on your team, ask them if they have any more treasure maps just to help you out. You'll probably get a few. So I highly, highly, highly suggest if you don't do anything else on this list, please just clear your inventory out of those treasure maps. You will walk away with so much junk, it won't even be funny. Those are really the main things that I wanted to mention on this list, but there finally is just one little thing I wanted to go over, and it's for, I guess, specific junk items that you want to get. If you have extra caps, go to all of the vendors and just buy up all of the junk items like you need or you think that you're going to need. So for instance, I'll buy bulk adhesives or bulk screws or even bulk steel if I really don't have the time to farm West Tech. So I just highly suggest you do the same. It's pretty cheap on the long run. Like you could buy thousands of bulk adhesive without really emptying your cap reserve if you have 40,000 caps, 30,000 caps, 20,000 caps, or you just don't have any treasure maps. This really is the last way you want to bulk up your junk reserves. But for most players, caps flow like water in the wasteland of Appalachia, so you should be able to buy whatever extra junk you really need. Like I said, I always go for adhesive or bulk lead or just, shit that I'm going to bulk screws, bulk springs, just stuff that I am going to use on a regular basis for weapon crafting, for base building, just for all of that. So I highly suggest you maybe go to the White Spring Ball and just check the vendors, see if they have a bulk item that you are searching for, and buy up as much as you can. And yeah, that's really it. This is the last way that I suggest you get your junk if you don't have treasure maps and if you don't want to go and kill any enemies, and if you have a shit ton of extra caps. Just really try and take advantage of all of the ways that you could get a shit ton of extra junk that you could score in your scrap box before this trial ends, so you won't have to store your stash box with useless junk and you could use it for other types of weapons that you come across the wasteland. There you have it, ladies and gents of the wasteland. We only have access to this free trial for a few days, so just try to do some, if not all, of these little farms before the free trial ends in order to get the most out of your Fallout First experience. Go ahead and farm up some West Tech and White Springs for junk and XP if you have time. Get all those treasure maps out of your inventory before it ends, and of course, try to stock up on as much ores and smelt them before the trial ends to maximize your potential ammo supplies. Seriously, the big thing for this is just getting your hands on as much junk and as much ammo and clearing out your stash box before the trial ends. I promise you're not going to want to have a bunch of junk sitting in your stash box. So really, if you can't do everything on this list, I highly suggest that you just farm West Tech a few times, farm White Springs a few times, get all of the treasure maps out of your inventory, and obviously go out for the lead. Those, I just really suggest you try and get as much on this list as you can. If you can't, just do the treasure maps and get the lead. Screw the West Tech, screw White Spring. I'm being honest with you. I appreciate you motherfuckers for watching this this motherfucking video, and I will see you in the wasteland. As always, I appreciate you. Let me know if you are going to get Fallout first after the Fallout First trial. Let me know if you hate Fallout First. Let me know what you're doing to maximize your Fallout First experience in the comments below. Like I said, I'm going to have that lead video in or lead article in the description for you guys. Go ahead and check that out if you do actually want to farm a shit ton of lead before this free trial ends. But yeah, just try and get as much junk and as much shit out of your stash box as you possibly can. Junk and ammo, those are the two things you want to go after during this, so you don't waste your experience with Fallout First. Fuck the survival tent, fuck the private world, that shit's not important. The only thing that matters is clearing up your stash space. I promise that's the only thing that matters in the long run. They will give another free trial to Fallout First at some point, and then you'll clear out your stash box again. But until then, just get as much ammo supplies as you can and get as much junk as you can and scrap it and store it in your scrap and ammo boxes. I appreciate you all. Have a blessed time in the wasteland.